Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Hey, Paulie. Good. How are you, mate?
Yeah, wonderful. Good to see you again. And it's good to be back on another Facebook Live.
Yeah, great to be here with you. Good to be here with everyone. Hope you're all
I'm
doing
really,
well.
I'm really enjoying these little chats that we're having, and it's acting as a bit of a therapy session for myself. So I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about your week and what we're going to explore.
Well, the week's been great, and I thought it would be it's an interesting time that we're all living through, and I don't need to explain at length as to why, but right now, Australia in particular are going through, or Melbourne is going through a period of stepping out of this COVID-19 bubble, yet retreating back a little bit as well. And it's a very, I think, emotional time when it comes to personal liberties, the almost like the unnaturalness, for lack of a better word, as to how we are like operating and dynamically operating within our own personal, relationships and things like that. So we've had a couple of questions about how people have had challenges dealing with emotional challenges, and I just thought I'd start by using that as a launch pad and a starting point. How does that sound?
Yeah, great. I'd love to hear about how you've kind of faced your challenges during this period and some insights that you've had. Anything, any takeaways that you could offer?
Yeah, great. Awesome. So, as I mentioned, I feel like it's been a relatively unnatural time. Myself and my wife, Natalie, have been both working full time, and for a really long time, we're parenting full time as well. No daycare, and that was just a massive adjustment for us. There was no there was no care from our parents as well, the grandparents of Edie. And that was a major adjustment. It took a lot of, I suppose, um, reshuffling expectations of one another and reshuffling expectations of myself as well. And sometimes, the stress of this new reality that I found myself in was, it was difficult to be able to deal with it from a mental or emotional perspective. And I find often when you need that emotional introspective look, that's when you don't have the chops to be able to look into yourself mentally. So I kind of stepped out of myself often and just tried to go for a run, or do simple things that can take care of my body, so that would better prepare my mind to be able to then come back and look at things. And that for me seems to help quite a bit. And then there are other times where I can just sit and have a word with myself and say, why are you acting like such a fool? Maybe you can, kind of step it up a little. Yeah, so that's in a really long roundabout way. That's kind of a couple of strategies that I've found, is by serving the body and preparing that through exercise, and even something as simple, which we've talked about, as hydration. That to me, an hour later, if I can smash a liter of water, that can really just prepare my body and my mind a little bit more for any emotional task that's ahead of it.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, it's definitely a bit of a cabin fever kind of scenario for pretty much all of us.
Mm,
Kind of locked down for the last 3 months. I just know, like for myself, having some little goals sprinkled out through this period has been really helpful. A little bit of purpose with how I'm using my body, my energy, how I'm contributing. It's just been really powerful to see that, there are endless ways that I can still take the best care of myself, even if I'm locked up at home. So I'm working from home today, which is really nice. Good to be here, do some cleaning, do some squats every 20 minutes or so, just to make sure I'm upkeeping my regular exercise, which is super helpful. And I think that's what's been really beneficial, is to see that, you know, there are always moments throughout the day that I can take the best care of myself physically, mentally, and emotionally. And some of the things that we've done these last 3 months, whether it's cold exposure, breathing, no sugar, building reps one day at a time, these have been really helpful things. I mean, we've kind of created them, but at the same time, I'm fully participating in them and I'm benefiting enormously from it. So this breathing mini course that you presented in, I think it was March, I hadn't had much experience with breathing before that. And I'm using a lot of the strategies and practices that you put in place and bring that into my life now. And I just find it's really amazing, as it just, you know, brings me to presence, to centeredness, gives me a bit of time and space just to be, you know, completely aware of my surroundings rather than being lost in thoughts. And I just found it really helpful. And yeah, I'm really grateful to what you've presented with the breathing challenge, because I think it's something that I'm going to bring into my life now, you know, every day, or to the best of my abilities. And even when I do miss a day here and there, I don't beat myself up, which is bloody awesome too, because I used to live a life of very much beating myself up when I didn't do everything perfectly and didn't, you know, follow through with every one of my goals and purposes. But now there's just a lot of ease that, you know, all of us are just doing the best that we can.
I love that, Dan. And you touched on something like breathing, which is for me a profoundly like simple yet such an effective method to be able to touch in a positive way on your body and your mind. You know, and the thing I love about it is it's tangible, and you can say, right, I'm just going to sit down and take 6 deep breaths whilst the kettle's boiling, or whatever it might be. And it's tapping into that tangible body, but has such a profound effect on your mind. Just, you know, like I've said a few times in the past, taking 6 deep breaths is all it needs to be able to lower your blood pressure, be able to change your human biology within just that 6 breath period. It's pretty magnificent, and to be able to strengthen that muscle to then to be able to do any kind of self work. And look, we're not psychologists. We're not. I'm not. Claiming to be. All I can do is speak from my own experience and say what's worked for me. And things like breath work, going like I found when I'm going through a stressful time, just smashing out, like you said, some squats or doing a run has an incredible stress relief effect for me. And you were touching on every 20 minutes, you know, that's that Pomodoro effect that we've discussed as well in the past. And it's there because, and it's been a well-known approach because it works.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing that's been really interesting in terms of breath work, which is kind of going off track a little bit, but that nasal breathing to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, I just found, especially when exerting a lot of energy, how it just calms everything down. And I feel like that is such a powerful thing to bring into any kind of like high intensity exertion, this ability to be able to just bring everything down, mellow everything out. And it's amazing that if it can be done during exercise, it can also be done during more challenging, stressful situations that any of us find ourselves in, whether it's kind of relationships or children, adolescents, you know, people that we're, you know, being in touch with each day that might evoke some kind of intensity within ourselves. That breath work is just super powerful just to relax everything. And there's no better disposition than me, just completely relaxed and at ease and facing everything from that vantage. So yeah, it's been amazing. And thank you so much for everything you've contributed to that.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for bringing it on board as part of a toolkit for life. And that's kind of, I suppose, what it is to be able to create these habits that we're doing, especially this month, to be able to create a single habit that can add nourishment to an aspect of your life. To be doing it slowly and build up in that unintimidating fashion. Then when times when you're up against the wall and times are a little bit prickly, you should subconsciously have that as a tool in your toolkit to be able to retrieve and to be able to utilize when when required.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I'm loving this June challenge. I'd love to hear if anyone else is taking advantage of, building one rep at a time. What are we, June 24 chin-ups to do shortly after this Facebook Live, which is going to be fun. It's getting really hard. It's a great challenge, though, and looking forward to finishing this off whilst continuing on with it, and then can't wait for the July challenge. Have you got any nuggets to share with us of what that could be?
No, I'm just looking forward to 60 pull-ups on July 6th, July 30th.
It's possible. I'm gonna push for it. I think this is just going to be a continual day-to-day practice, especially because the chin-up bar is right.
Just looking at you.
There.
There it is.
So that is going to be met very shortly. And I think having apparatus and equipment around that, I've got the yoga strap here as well for any kind of stretches. Having things just around, we've got the ball. Things are just everywhere, and I find that really helpful too, because then it becomes unavoidable.
That's it. Hacking your environment. I love that, mate. That's really great. How's the body feeling after those pull-ups?
Great. I'm loving this. It's the only bit of exercise. In terms of strength training, this is the only thing I'm doing. So it's nice to kind of prioritize primarily a calisthenics-based training program, and has been the case since the lockdown. So it's been good to see how that's impacted my body and strength too. It's been good. That's
great, mate. Well, thank you very much, Dan. And I'm looking, like I said before, I'm loving these sessions. Let's continue them on. I've got a few ideas as to what the July challenge is going to be. And that will all be announced in a couple of days.
Amazing. Thanks, Paulie. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to next time.
Thank you, guys.
Part&Parcel deliver on an ethically curated selection of healthy household staples at close to wholesale prices. Part&Parcel is offering a 30-day free trial, and you can use the link below to get $25 off your first order. It's time to put your money where your values are.